May 16th, 2026. Yesterday on the 15th, I went over a lot of things with my son Dan, and I told him more about what's going on. Eye-opening and a lot. Okay. I told him, I said, you know how I have degenerative joint disease in my knees. I know that. I said, do you remember when my legs were so swollen they'd pop out of place? He said, I remember that. I said, remember I fell so hard one time that I pulled one of the muscles in my knee and I couldn't even bend my knee for a long time. He said, I remember that. I said, do you remember the other knee had a large fluid-filled cyst on it? I remember that. And the fluid under my knees, they had to keep draining. I remember that. I said, in the massive amount of fluid on my legs, and they kept popping on place, and that's why they had to give me canes and braces till the swelling went down, and the muscles got tight enough for me to walk, and it took me a long time to learn to walk again. I remember that. Okay. So I said, there's a lot I haven't told you, and people involved in this. Okay. I said, Ron and Lisa were involved in this. He said, what on earth would they be involved? And how would you know? I said, an FBI agent told me on a recorder line. He said, why on earth would they be there? I told him, I said, well, I said, back in 2003, I said, we're going to start from the beginning. I said, in 01, around 0102, Linda found my sister that's married to that occult leader Strange when he was alive. She's still married to his son, Tim. I said, one day Tim was out and Linda caught him with Katie. She starts following him. My mom follows him. Lori follows him. They're cheating. She won't say nothing. She knows. And we even sat around talking, why won't she say anything? We figured because she hadn't worked in over 20 years, maybe she couldn't support herself. But if she's willing to live in an open marriage, that she knows her husband's cheating, that's her choice. He said, exactly. I said, she'd call up and cry. He said, I wouldn't even let her cry at that point. She knows he's cheating. She's not willing to say anything, and she's putting up with it. I said, we just stayed out of it, and we avoided that family like the plague. For the very polite conversation that was uncomfortable of, you got to act like you don't know anything because she's not going to say anything. You don't want to put her in a place she can't handle. So we just stayed out of it and avoided them. I said in November 2003, when Strange did that to you, the reason he did it is she came up to me at church. I was following him again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry. Be careful. He went, what? And I said, well, that's why he took you the next service. And why he pushed you so hard and was so cruel is he needed to get rid of me. Because he thought I caught Tim and Katie together. And he was afraid I'd tell on his son. I said, he made up that lie and called me a baker through all that. And just discredit me and get rid of me real quick. And I said, that's why he did it to you, because he had to get rid of me. He went, oh. Realizing he lived through something because somebody else did something stupid. I said, where I called the hotline. Investigators said, as soon as I got off the hotline, they immediately walked in an FBI office and confessed they were trying to kill me and tried to justify it. I guess Strange was there and all kinds of church people, including Ron and Lisa. He said that is hard to believe they would be involved in this. I said, I guess they were in there all saying that it offended them that Strange called me a faker and they were trying to kill me because of it. He said, you're kidding. I said, no, on a recorded line. An agent said I met with that family in my office that lost their kid in that traffic accident. And all those church people, I know they're trying to kill you because you were faking you were sick before. He went, you're kidding. I said, no, I guess it was really dramatic in there with their little skit acting like they were all upset. And they confessed March 27th, 25 to an FBI agent. They were all lying to the FBI. Never offended them, didn't even concern them. And I said, this other investigator was so mad, March 20th, 26th, in Walmart West Tusk, yelled it out. He hadn't found one bit of this funny. Since that family that was telling everybody it offended him, that he called her a faker in 03, that they were lying to the FBI, and they were all lying to help him get away with this. And I said they were all in there to extort money from the government. I said they already confessed that. Other people did. That's where that Michelle, the one that was dating that agent that told on him, about the doctor friend before not being one of mine, worse for them, and they had lied. And when they bashed in my head, they tried to kill me or leave me incompetent. And he broke up with her. The one Carl seen and heard him say that. I said, that girl, where they threatened her life, she's been telling on them. They confessed this whole thing was extort money from the government. September 30th, 25, they got it out of that dad's old girlfriend, Katie's family member, that Dixie knew. That this whole thing was her family's dad to drug dealers. And they, with Tim dating Katie on the side. Then you think of what Anita and Pam said at Apostolic Church of Barberton. Mary's niece, Michelle, was willing to kill someone just for the opportunity to date someone like Dave. And Dave was excited. He never had anybody willing to kill somebody just to date him. That poor family that's in debt. I said, that's Katie's family member. Mary's her mom. And that Henry Mauvie Will guy is her dad. The one that January 1926 said he never met me in person before. I was furious, and Bob Evans running at his mouth. He was the one inciting Carl's family to take everything and threaten his life, and he was pulling a fast one on the FBI and was going to steal the case's money and be gone. I said they're trying to scam the FBI out of money. They took their stalking tapes where they laughed at me about the shower scene in the other room. And they took the shower scene in the other room nobody knew about, where I had bruises and sick and almost passing out. These people laughed at me. As I walked by doors, they'd reach out and stab me with hypnotic drugs. And you jerk around, you think, ow, what bit me? Because you didn't know somebody was in your home. You thought you got stung or bit. And they've already ducked back in the room. You go over and sit down, and it's like, ow, what was that? And you didn't see anything. You didn't think anybody being in your home. Room goes dizzy and black, and then hours later come out, you're throwing up, you got more bruises, He's letting them drug me up and tell me to say horrible stuff. They already admitted they did that. And I'm throwing up, dizzy, almost passing out, blaming the dirty well water, thinking it's toxic. Never seen her talk to anybody. They took their drug confessions and they told the FBI they had sodium pentothal reports and they were drugging me to get the truth out of me, where they're drugging me and telling me to say stuff. And some idiot pretending to be a doctor breaking HIPAA with people saying they're trying to kill me because some idiot called me a faker. And the FBI would open a case, okay, and then hand them the money because they said they were offended. I said they were in there to scam money out of the government. They already confessed that. He went, "You're kidding." I said, "No, they were all involved." Okay. Now, what is going on right now is called a smoke screen. It's like a military tactics. You put a bunch of smoke up in the air so that you can get through a place, pull something out, and they don't see you. I want you to think about this being a smoke screen, a diversion. Okay. December 2nd, 22 at noon, an investigator was telling a guy, he said, "Is that the one that church tried to have killed?" He said, "Yes." He said, "I heard she never got any money out of this." He said, "No." He said, "It's the one guy from the case. He stole every dime since the first day for himself." Okay. Now I want you to think about this. My friend Grant lives out of state. He has an FBI agent friend that's out of state. He went to him, told him what happened to me. He said, if this is really what happened to her, he said, all informant cases, witness protection program cases, all come with money. They all come with immunity from the government. And he even said that that agent doesn't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. He can't take her money. He can't tell people they can't help her. It's all illegal. If this really happened, the only one and the only one that could have actually stole her money was that agent that opened her case. And the only way he could steal it is the card that he loaded the money on, put it in his pocket. And he walked out with it. And he has to have at least one other person covering for him because there's dual control like a bank where you both have to sign. That he handed it to her and they witnessed him handing her that card. Okay? Now think about this. Memorial Day weekend 2019. There's an older, heavyset white lady with white hair. For it's my daughter, her husband dates. Going on and on, okay? And it's for my daughter. They did all this for her. Later on, she showed up. We called him. We explained Michelle. He set her up. They were breaking. The guy that did this to me that Dave hired, he knew that agent before the case started. People have even said, how many times has that so-called attorney's office or that guy and this agent stole from cases and ran scams on people? And this time, they got caught in front of everybody. Even by September 23, up on Forest Grove Drive, investigators, this whole thing is that idiot stealing her money. The whole thing. Now, I want you to start thinking about this. The other 2 nights ago, I was at work. There was 2 guys outside talking. Okay. He said, I went up to that church and I found out that agent did tell those people before he talked to her, he knew she was being drugged, being raped, and didn't care. And they've all been sitting around. They stole their money. They can't steal my money. The only way he could do it is a card that's in my name. He put it in his pocket and he's taking it off himself. Legally, they can't take it. See, that's where Grant's friend, that's an FBI agent, you're in immunity from the government for getting them information. 95% of the people in the witness protection program are hardened criminals. And they wipe out their whole past, give them money and immunity for the rest of their life. And they can't be charged for anything. I want you to think about this. And see, that's where no one can legally touch it, where they're doing the smoke screen. You put your name on this. You say something about it, we'll extort money from the government for you. The attempt of extortion is 20 years. Where they bragged over a year ago, they were setting my kids up to go to jail for it. They also told people 19 or 20, anybody stupid enough to put their name on this will end up in jail for it. Okay? Now, I want you to think about this. That agent's friends are running around telling everybody, you say something about her, we'll put your name on it. You can extort money out of the government. You can sue them. I'm in immunity for life, and you can't touch government funds. But if you try to touch it, you can go to jail for 20 years. May 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning, Louisville police are outside with a lady that's part of this group trying to pull the scam of being able to steal money from the government. See, they're doing a smoke screen when it's just that agent stealing for him and his friend. Get the idea? They're just lying. They're going to do it for other people. Get the idea? It's a big lie. Said that that lady said I was going to trick her out of a bunch of money, and she told the police that. Do you know tricking people out of a bunch of money is extortion? Go to jail for that. Telling the cops she's going to commit extortion. And I didn't know she knew surveillance laws, and she put them up on Facebook. She said, now I can't extort money out of her and trick her out of it. She said, I'm tricking Dixie and Melissa to put their name on it, and I'm going to have them arrested. Well, see, what they're trying to do is run around, get all these people to put their name on it. Then they're going to have them arrested while they walk off with the money. Get the idea? They found the original case. Said my ex-husband hired two men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney, so it made it legal. No, it didn't. It made it worse illegal. They also found the surveillance of Walmart 62. They tape an audio in every aisle that the cartel was saying that this whole thing is a scam from Bill from the Freemasons of the Dirty Doctor not being one of hers works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is, and the whole thing is a scam. That officer got out of his car. The whole thing is a scam. Yeah, and a very stupid one. See, that's where they just keep offering people millions of dollars of extorted amount of money from the government, and they're just going to walk off with it themselves. Where they're sitting around laughing that they took my money. The only way they could take, and like that FBI agent said, the only way they could take it is they just simply took the card that's in her name. Because it's in her name and they can't take it out. And they're getting money off that card. That's mine. Get the idea? Now I want you to think about this. All right. May 8th, 26th, I'm in my community health. That rude doctor walks out, goes ahead of us. He goes into a room. I look up, it says staff only. He's talking so loud you can hear him out in the hallway. My phone is tapped from the police. They got a recording of him. See, and I think it's funny. She thinks I ought to be show her respect when she's here. I'm one of the ones that watch her. His dumb ass needs to go to jail. I want you to think about this. All right? He said, the other guy said, Well, I told you. I was helping out because she started walking around while that family was grieving. What did that family say to an FBI agent a year ago? They lied about everything and never concerned them. They were helping them get away with all this. What did another investigator do? March 20th, 26th? Yelled it out on Walmart West Husk. They confessed to an FBI agent that them saying that they were offended that Strange called her a figure. They were all lying in that office helping them get away with it. I haven't found one bit of this funny. So why is he in there lying to that doctor? Okay? And he's impersonating a federal agent. And it's an agent over my case. Because where I'll go through that again. They told me by the 1st of 19 he was no longer with the FBI. And they were very sorry about everything. And he was no longer with the FBI. So he's a former agent. Get the idea? Now, I want you to think about this. He's saying, I am going to try to steal everything for John and Melissa. Why would you steal anything for John and Melissa? That lady already said she's setting Melissa up to go to jail for this. And you leave my baby alone. Leave my son John alone. And I'll tell you what, he wasn't part of it. I want you to think about this. He already, July 26, 25, an FBI agent from 18 came in, said, I told that couple never to say a word to her again. I interviewed John years ago. And he said nothing bad ever happened to him. Okay? He said all her boys were speaking highly of her. Okay? Well, that's what the FBI announced in Walmart 62 after the case, that all my children were speaking very highly of me, and Melissa's kids were caught and taped saying they were lying. And they were only making it up to scare me into giving up my house. They announced it. Now, Melissa, what did her kids get tape stating? They made everything up. They were games of pretend. And they wanted the house for Auntie Shaw and Papa. They taped Melissa telling the kids to lie. And they're just documenting mean jokes. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no police report. There's no pictures of injuries. There's no treatment for injuries. There's no physical evidence. Because they're mean jokes. Does she have an attorney? No attorney would take her. She has nothing. In their mean jokes, she'd go to jail for the attempted extortion. Like Officer Mark said, she could go to jail for this. In 18. I hate to arrest her. Her kids are little. Why don't we just write up that her and the kids were showing off for Dave and his girlfriend? And Melissa's so stupid she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. And I could give you a big long list of all the times and different investigators, different police departments that they got taped, including the FBI. They got tapes. What did Officer John say? January 12th, 22, where they get tapes stating they made everything up. She doesn't have an attorney because there's nothing for an attorney for. You can't just make up mean jokes. Okay? And then steal from somebody. Okay? And you sure as hell can't just roofie someone and tell them to say something horrible. And then nobody's ever been hurt but the person that got roofied and beat on. And Dr. Haben's office is still open after 50 years. He was a kids' pediatrician from 1984 to 2002. He's seen my kids 3 or 4 times each year and over 18 years. They had their yearly checkup then, either colds, ear infections, whatever. He's seen them 3 or 4 times a year for 18 years. There was no sign of any abuse, no neglect, and they were well taken care of. Medical proof from an MD doctor, no one was ever abused. Okay? You can't just roofie someone. Okay? You go to jail for it. And, like, in Myers. Actually, Walmart and Alliance. What was it, April 30th, 26? That girl that says she's dating Agent John said, how stupid are these people? You can't just make something up and have games of pretend. You can't just roofie someone and tell them to say something horrible. And they didn't even see the person. You can't just Photoshop things like shower scenes and extort money out of someone. How dumb are they? They have to actually have physical evidence somebody was harmed. You can't just make scenarios like this up. Okay? You can't. So, does either one of them have an attorney? No. Just like they lied that Danny and Jen reported the tape of Weird With Yourself, and they've confessed it was a shower scene of washing yourself in the shower in the other room. And they photoshopped it in stocking tapes by people Dave hired on his own to pull a drug scam on me. Now, that's where they try to frame Danny and Jen that they reported it. They didn't know. They didn't know anything, nor will they have anything to do with it. Now, I want you to think about this. Yesterday in Magnolia at the Bell Store on May 15th, 26th, an investigator's in there. These people lied that her kids came in and confessed that they knew she was fake and she was sick before. They just verified. They knew she was sick and what was wrong with her. And they knew why she couldn't walk for a while. Yeah, they weren't part of it. These people lied. They lied about everything. They had to create a smoke screen for that agent to walk off with the card in his pocket and for him to take the money off himself. For he is the only one that could have took my money. He had to simply just put the card that loaded with my money on it in my name in his pocket, and one of his co-workers is helping him out steal from cases. Sign that he handed me that card. So think about my community health on May 8th, 26th. That guy in there, I'm going to steal money for John and Melissa. No, he isn't. He's stealing it for himself. It's a smoke screen. Probably setting him up like that lady said to go to jail. Because the attempted of extortion out of the government is 20 years. That's where they run around. Say something bad about her. We'll put your name on the list. And we'll get money, extorted money out of the government out of her case. You can't extort money out of an FBI case. Can't even ask for it. The person's in immunity from the government. It can't be processed. And it's government funds. And it's theft out of government funds. You go to jail. Where they said they were trying to set Dixie and the Melissa up. So they're in there lying to that doctor. He said, I heard she reported this to the OPR, the Department of Justice. I'll call them and tell them we're taking all our money for her walking around while that family was grieving. The one that already said they were lying. He's stealing it for himself. And that fool is not going to call the OPR and say he's stealing case from the money. Think of that. The money from the case. They'd arrest him. And see, that's where people run around laughing. Oh, they tell everyone no one can help her. Now we're going to go over the laws. They can't tell people they can't help me. That's all there is to it. Right on Google, if an FBI agent tells an informant, if they say something, that no one can help them and protect them. It goes into attempted murder, tampering with a witness, and tampering with evidence, and obstruction to justice. It can go into attempted murder. It is 20 to life. So can they tell anybody if I say something? It's a severe abuse of authority. And they lose their badge and their pension. So can that agent say that? No. The cops are to arrest him. So, can they have it in a court order? Can a judge sign it? No. If a judge signs a court order that an informant can't say anything or they won't have protection and no one can help them, the judge is not immune from criminal prosecution. It's a severe abuse of authority and tampering with a witness and evidence and going to attempt to murder, and it's decades to life in federal. For the judge, he can't sign it. No judge could sign that court order. Nor could a judge sign if an informant says anything that they can't get their money from the case. Freedom of speech. A judge can, First Amendment in the Constitution, can only put a gag order you like in a jury trial while the jury trial is going on. Otherwise, they can't even do it. No judge could sign it. If a judge, right on Google, what is a jail sentence for a judge? If he signs a court order telling that an informant can't say anything or they don't get their money, it's 20 to life. Severe abuse of authority. Deprived of rights under constitutional laws. Obstruction justice, tampering with a witness, and then theft out of government funds. And they'd be made to pay the government back that money, them and that agent. No judge could sign it. And see, that's where I was told by my friend that worked at the prosecutor, there's guidelines. It's for risking your life to get the government information they owe you for the rest of your life. You get the money for risking your life to get the government information. And only for getting them information. And you stay in immunity for life for getting them information. You're in the witness protection program, Karen. You didn't even realize it. And you're not only in a witness protection program in an informant case, but a threat and attempt to life case that can never be closed. You will get the money for risking your life to get the government information. And you'll be in immunity for the rest of your life and the money for the rest of your life. That agent cannot tell you can't say anything or you don't get your money, or they can't say you can't say anything, or no one will help you. He doesn't have authority. He's a higher police officer. Not only a judge in like a jury trial, First Amendment, freedom of speech can take your freedom of speech away. No judge could ever sign that court order. There's guidelines, and it's only for risking your life to get them information, and they owe you. And he cannot withhold it. He cannot misdirect it. He cannot tell anybody no one can help you. No judge could sign it. The judge would be signing his own arrest warrant. The only time your case could ever be closed is if the FBI puts you in another witness protection program. And only that. And otherwise you stay an informant for life, an immunity for life. Now, I want you to think about now I talked to a criminal attorney and police. My friend from the prosecutor's office all said the same thing. Went on Google, what is a jail sentence? No judge could sign it. It's 20 to life. No, yeah, and that agent don't have authority. He's only a higher police officer. And then these are federal crimes of blackmail, extortion, theft out of government funds, attempted murder, blackmail, obstruction justice, tampering with a witness. These are big federal crimes. Then theft out of government funds. Him and his friends have been running around telling everybody they're going to steal from the government. And it's a smokescreen to get you arrested, to take the limelight off it. They stole the money for themselves and just took my card. Get the idea? They're going to put you in jail and trick you into putting your name on this. And you get arrested while they walk off with my money. That's what they're doing. It's a big smokescreen. Now, I want you to think about this guy. saying all this crap to that doctor. I'm going to call the OPR, tell the DOJ that no one can help her because she was thinking she was sick before. And I'm stealing all her money and giving it away. That fool did not make that phone call. They'd arrest him on the spot. And nor is it funny, if she tries to have liposuction, I already talked to that doctor, he's to kill her. He's to make it look like an accident, a fat embolism, or a blood embolism, and make sure she dies. Oh, I went out to that nice doctor. Talked to his nurse, been talking to her a lot about this. Told her how they tried to frame everybody, how Melissa got taped telling her kids a lie, the kids stating they made everything up and they wanted the house for Aunt Michelle and Pupple, and that they were games of pretend they made up. Really sick stuff I found out. And how the FBI and police called her out in Walmart for her trying this in the middle of their case. She said, I bet they did. And just like I told her, Officer John stopped big men at the door on January 12th, 22. What those kids get tape stating? They made everything up. And I said, you have to have proof of that. You can't just make something up. She went, exactly. And I said, you sure as hell can't just roofie someone. And she said, I know. And I told her how John defended me on Thanksgiving of 18 that Melissa, his ex-wife, would just have the kids make up something in our church people too, but don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you. It'd just be made up because of the divorce. And then how years later she had pulled a stunt with him and he'd lost his kids, and he asked me to be a reliable name on a court record to watch his kids after school. And I was working 2 jobs. I didn't get off the first one, let alone the second one, to help him. And he ended up losing his kids. Moved to Florida, met this new woman. They got married, started their own church, and they have a baby. He's extremely happy and doing really well. He had to get out of that bad situation with that girl to get his new life. And he's very happy. I'm really proud of him. I said he wasn't part of it, and I found out June 13th, 14th of last year. They had somebody impersonate him, asking people to help kill me. My son would never ask anybody to help kill me, and he was not part of his dad and his crack-headed girlfriend that was 18 trying to have me killed and running a con on the FBI, trying to extort money from. And he wasn't having his mother drugged, beaten, raped, and drugged up and told to say stuff to extort money from the government. My kid wasn't part of this. I said, July 26, 25, an FBI agent comes in. I told that couple never say a word to her again. I interviewed John years ago, 18. He said nothing bad ever happened to him. Well, so did his MD doctor, pediatrician for 18 years. Was never abused. There was no neglect, and they were well taken care of, medical proof. And all her boys were speaking highly of her. Okay? And I'm going on and on and on. And I said, they made a threat the other day that if I try to have liposuction, they'll come out and have the doctor make it look like an accident and kill me. That'll be a fat embolism or blood embolism. And she said, doctors try not to make mistakes. Is it that kind of mistake? They kill someone, they go to jail. And I said, I figure I go around telling all my doctors they're making threats like this. So they make sure they don't make a mistake, because then it's premeditated murder. I said that in the beginning of this case, I said Dave had beat me real bad. And some lady was running around. If she tries to tell on Dave, we'll tell everyone that she hurt herself. I said, you know what I did? I taped Dave admitting to beating me. I thought, don't play with me, bitch. She started giggling. I said, these people are not going to run around threatening me. And I said, I used to work in a bank and a loan company. If an FBI agent would have came in with a court order, you know what I would have looked at him as? A scammer. Because what the hell are you doing in my office? I would have had to call the bank manager, would have had to call the regional, they would have had to verify the court order and that person's badge before they talk to anybody. See, that's what they should have done. by federal law. See, when they walked in there to badmouth me, by federal law, that doctor out there in Warren is a very nice man. Very nice man. Has a handicapped daughter. Very kind man. I would hate for him to ever get in trouble over anything. Maybe a stern warning. Don't ever do it again. Next time somebody shows up and wants to talk about one of your patients, throw them out. Call us, get their name, we'll take care of them. An opposing attorney cannot go to your doctor and try to get information or talk about you. It is a federal crime. They can't interfere. And it's not even an opposing attorney. It's one of the guys Dave hired on his own. Last Saturday, they were talking about it out in Myers. I'm tired of that so-called attorney for children, how bad they had her harmed. They said it's no attorney for children. We looked it up. The guy's not an attorney. It's just one of the guys Dave hired on his own. They think it may be his ex-girlfriend's father. You're kidding. Nope. Now think about this. There's been ladies out there talking about, they tried to say last year, oh, John verified it for Will, like Will's God Almighty. And he's a scammer. And they're lying to him. Well, when I went to leave, I forgot to transfer money out of my savings into my checking so I could pay for the bill. And it took me a minute to move everything. And I could hear a lady in an office talking to him again. Out there, out in Ward. And said, I didn't know John verified for the FBI. Nothing bad happened to him. Said, do you want us, we're going to extort money out of the government. We got a list of people that want to extort money out of the government out of this. Do you want your name on it? No. Honey, now we're going to do a reality check. That for what? By federal law, and I would never sue him. We'll put it out there because I think he's a very kind man. And I don't even want him in trouble. The one out Warren, I don't even want him in trouble. Maybe a stern warning, don't ever do this again. By federal law for HIPAA violations, for him talking to them, I could sue him. Am I going to? No. Because he's a nice man, nor do I want him in trouble for them tricking him. But he does need warned. Next time somebody comes in, you throw them out. You call us. You don't let them talk about your other patients. And what they are doing is a fraud scheme. And they're scamming you, trying to help out. So all the people where they said they have a list of people trying to extort money from the government, it is a federal crime for the attempt of extortion of the government is 20 years. They're trying to get an illusion that you can steal from the government by saying something about me. You can't do it by saying something. It's per documented injury, set amount by an impartial jury, not a judge. No one got hurt but me. Get the idea that it's a smoke screen. They said they were setting Dixie and Melissa to go to jail for this. They're trying to get everybody arrested that puts their name on it. See, the one doctor that does need arrested, and absolutely does need arrested, if he is not working with the police and the FBI to get information out of these people, that doctor at My Community Health needs to be arrested. 100% needs arrested. Because he's in there talking with somebody that's conspiring to have me murdered. Then he's saying, I think it's funny she thinks I ought to show her respect when she's here. I think he should respect all his patients who are paying him. And I help watch her. And da-da-da-da-da. You're stalking me? Yeah. If he's not working with the police, he needs arrested. And listening to that guy and having that guy confess that they were trying to get someone to kill me. And that guy saying he's going to try to extort money out of the government for John and Melissa, and for doing it for John and Melissa, he has to be the agent that opened the case that told on me. The one that's no longer with the FBI. That put my card in his pocket, and he's trying to scam him and his friends, scam everybody to say, hey, we can extort all this money out of the government. Let me have your name and what you want it for. And guess what's going to happen? He's going to arrest you. He's going to have you arrested. Well, he walks off with the money. He just put my card in his pocket. That's it. See, legally it can't be touched. It's immunity money. Where 95% of the people in the witness protection program are criminals. They wipe out their whole past and put them in immunity. They can never be touched. Nor could their money, and they get money for getting them information on somebody else. I'm in one of those. Get the idea? How much they're scamming you, him and his friends? Okay, now I want you to think about this. I called the FBI hotline. I cried my eyes out. I'll have an agent call you back. The next day, I'm so drugged up, I can't even answer the phone. I wake up, who's that? And I had rivers of tears running down my face. I kept saying I can't. Wipe my tears and go back to sleep and let it go to voicemail. Later on, I'm so drugged up, I can't even stand up straight. Doubled up, get to the bathroom, get to the refrigerator, get back in bed. Listen to voicemail. This is agent, call me back. I can't. I fell asleep. Next day, I'm not much better. Third day, I make myself get up. I'm sitting on the front porch, holding my head. I feel drunk, and I don't drink. And what's wrong with me? Got enough air in my face? Called one of my witnesses I gave the hotline, where Katie was telling people in the mall, 3 people, it was her church trying to have me killed. Said they'd witness for me. I went out and bought a card, put that agent's number in it from the voicemail, and dropped it off at her work, and her manager put it in locker. Went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Paymer got in Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk off. Women walk up. He knows she's being drugged, beaten, raped, and he didn't care. Now, I never seen her talk to anybody. Never even had my neighbors in my home. Had family repair guys, insulation guys. And 2 silly officers in August of 2018 at midnight. We only had 3 cameras on the outside only. Front porch, back porch, side yards. Okay? One side of the yard. Nothing to the end of the driveway. And nothing inside. Front porch, back porch, side yard. Nothing inside. Okay? At midnight, I had a light in the security system outside. I called, the officers show up. They're silly. They said it looks like an alien orb, angry spirit, and told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it. They didn't want bothered. I didn't have anybody else in my home. I thought the orange, nasty well water I was showering in was giving me cancer and causing the severe personal infection, the bruising, the throwing up, dizzy, almost passing out. I thought it was toxic. Here it just had different kinds of iron in it. Okay? Never seen, never talked to anyone. And these people admitted to hiding behind doors, and as I would walk by, they would stab me real quick and then hide again. How not funny is this? And then wait for it to take effect and drug me up and told me to say stuff with hypnotic drugs, which does cause sleepwalking, no memory, and a metal taste in your mouth like I had. Okay? All right. Now, where I'm back in 2018, where we're at Apostolic Church of Barberton, Paul Paymer is screaming at Dave. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk off. Women walk up. He knows she's being drugged, being raped, and said he didn't care. I lost 18 pounds, covered in bruises, orange, lemon, grapefruit size. Okay? Severe personal infection. Been throwing up, almost passing out. and thought the well water was killing me. Telling the doctor that. Never seen, never talked to anybody. My heart's sinking in my stomach. I go in and sit down. They follow me. He knows she's being drugged, beaten, raped, and he said he didn't care if she was going to be faking. She was sick. While that family was grieving, he didn't care what they did to her. And if she was going to be mean to their women, he was going to turn her back over to them. Can you imagine an agent saying that? He told them he was going to defraud me before he even talked to me. Okay? I've had several investigators say they went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton, and they all told him that agent did tell them that. Okay? Dave comes in, let's go. Get out in the car, he screams at me, he called the FBI on me, I had to kill you myself. And he goes for a loaded gun and put my hand on the console, and he beat me all the way home. When I got home from him, I ran. Next day, rivers of tears, I call him back. I tell him someone told on me, you liar. I tell him about a guy that threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle. Calls me a liar, starts screaming about a camera above the bench. I don't know. Say you're a liar and I'll arrest you. I said, well, he tried to kidnap me before. And before I could say Terry Coberly seen him, he said, oh, come on now. I've had that family in my office, the ones that admitted March 27, 25 to an FBI agent that they were all lying, that they were offended, and were making everything up to get away with this. Had that family in my office that lost their kid in a traffic accident, the liars. I know, and all those church people that were lying to you, to rob you, took you out a bunch of money. Had them all in my office, and I know they're trying to kill you because, and he said, strangers lie to cover up Tim and Katie. You are faking you're sick. It's like, look, I really was sick before. You liar. Was there a camera above that bench or not? I don't know. You say you're lying or I'll arrest you. And he starts screaming. I said, you say you're lying or I'll put you in jail. You hear me? I'll arrest you. You hear me? Now say it or else I'm coming up and putting you in jail. It's like, fine, whatever. Well, now I want you to say you're faking you're sick. Now that's ridiculous. I almost died from medical malpractice. I said I really was sick before. He said, oh, come, and he said, I've met with that family in my office and all those church people, and I know they're trying to kill you. He said, strangest liar, call me a faker again. Conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder is federal crime. Why didn't you arrest him? They can't just kill people. Good question, huh? He said, and I said, I really was sick before. You liar. He said, you need to realize what you've done, and I don't blame him for trying to kill you. He actually says that. People showed up the other day down in Magnolia at the gas station when we listened to the recorded line. We heard how that agent talked to you. How stupid all this is. Okay? He said, I don't blame him for trying to kill you. You need to realize what you've done. I said, I really was sick before. You liar. He said, you say you're faking or I'll leave you there. And I said, but I really was sick before. You liar. You say it or I'll leave you there. And I said, but they'll kill me. So they've tried to kill me. He said, so you say it or I'll leave you there. You hear me? It's like, fine, don't let them kill me. Why would the FBI help a person like you? Well, they're trying to kill me, so. They've tried to kill me, so. The other one yells out, I found out one of the guys Dave hired on his own, and probably one of the rapists. People said where I had all those bruises, he was one of the ones beating on me and raping me. A rapist Dave hired on his own. I've never met. He said we could always use Pete's tape or wear it with yourself. The shower scene in the other room. By a rapist Dave hired. A drug dealer. I don't even know who he is. I said I don't know who or what you're talking about because it's photoshopped or washing in the shower. I said, and they already confessed to that years ago. And then they did a body ratio July 24th, 25. An investigator wasn't even me. It is a woman showering and washing herself, but it's not even me. They put my head on her body. Body size wasn't the same. But it is a shower scene, like they admitted years ago. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said something else, and I've never met him. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I bet you're going to say you don't know anything about the psychiatrist for sexual disorders of wanting your brother. I said, I don't even know who or what you're talking about. Well, I had some other lady use my insurance for 15 years, ran up a bunch of medical bills, and half my medical records are hers. And I thought maybe it's one of hers. They got it out a day from March 27th, 25, that it was a girlfriend from before me made him marry me to get a job at my dad's factory, so she'd have free insurance. It was her impersonating me, running up all those medical bills. It wasn't random identity theft. It was another girlfriend of him scamming me. I found out. I said, I don't even know who or what you're talking about. At that point, I wanted to say, why don't you stop lying? And I bit my tongue. I was like, no, I just flabbergasted. I said, I don't know who or what you're talking about. He's laughing, stop, you don't know. He said, give me a real reason. My brother-in-law, Craig Davis, died working under Dick Cheney. He was a private consultant for the FBI, unrestricted, did war weapon spyware, traveled the world, and his one boss was a spook. He said, okay. He said, first of all, have you talked to any law enforcement about threats on your life? I said, the only 2 officers I've ever spoke to were in August of 2018. At midnight, the light in the security system came out, told me I looked like an alien orb, angry spirit, and told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it. They don't want bothered. You're kidding, right? I said, no, matter of fact, I've never even had my neighbors in my home. I don't know what you're talking about. Is that what's going on? He said, do you know if Dave's cheating? I said, I've never caught him. December 9th, 18, Dave verified I never caught him with anyone. He's laughing with that other guy. She said she never caught him. So did Dave. I taped him, of course. I said, he said, well, I can take you somewhere and leave you with no money. I don't have money to start. He said, well, if you agree to get information on Dave and the churches, he said, I can open an informant case. I said, I can do that. He said, I'm opening up a case today. It comes with like $5,000 a month. He said, if you'll have a life of peace as an informant, nothing legally stated, dated against you again, and only for you would we ever do this for. We'll always put it back as if it never happened and you can't be legally charged again for working this case. Immunity for life. I have 1 traffic ticket. You erase the craziness of the scam. I have 1 traffic ticket. That's it. 1989. Think of that. He said, you'll have a life of peace as an informant, nothing legally stated, dated against you again, and only for you would we do this for. We'll always put it back as if it never happened. You can't be legally charged again for working this case. Admit to no wrongdoing, and I'll take care of everything in the end. Okay? But if you try to tell someone, I'll tell people you're crazy. The FBI won't help you. And, but if you need help, the chief of police of Canton is my very best friend. You can trust him. He'll make sure the Canton police always protect you. Now, I read you the laws. That's why my friend Walter from the Stark County Prosecutor's Office laughed how he cried. That agent can't talk to you like that. He can't bully you into false statements. It's illegal. He can't tell you can't say anything. You won't get your money, or no one can help you. Cannot withhold protection. You can't withhold your money. Cannot misdirect it. It's illegal. They're federal crimes. It can't be in a court order. No judge could sign it. The judge would go to jail. He even said that the judge would be signing his own arrest warrant. He said you get the money for risking your life and only for risking your life to get them information. Karen, you don't realize you're in one of the many witness protection programs. You're not only an informant case, but a threat and attempt to lie case that never can be closed. The only time the FBI can close it if they put you in another witness protection program, then you get the money immunity for the rest of your life for risking your life to get them information, and they owe you. He cannot, there's guidelines. He cannot make up his own rules. He was only bullying you. I talked to a criminal attorney and the police, and they said the same thing. And then you go on Google, he can't, and he can't be in a court order. And that's where Grant's friend, that is an FBI agent out of state, the only one that could have took her money is that agent over a case that opened. Had to put that card in his pocket and walk out with it. And some other agent is covering up and signed that he witnessed him giving her that card. You get the money for working the case only, getting them information. He doesn't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. It can't be in a court order, and he can't tell anybody they can't help her. He can't say she can't get her money either. He can't bully her into false statements. The only thing he can do is money and immunity for getting them information for the rest of your life. 95% of the people in the witness protection program are hardened criminals that they agree to get information on somebody else and they wipe out their whole past. And then they get money and immunity for life and no one can touch them because they're a government witness. Get the idea? Now, within a few weeks of calling the FBI, because that agent was so rude, I didn't believe he was real. I heard Dave outside. He was on the phone with someone. He never knew I knew. That Dixie and the baby would be next, and they had a list of people and I was saying a bunch of horrible stuff out there. I Googled that office and I called him, and he's got a list. I'm working on it. He's very real. Well, a few months later, I call back down there. A lady answers, said, "Miss Hall, I am so sorry. That agent is not with the FBI anymore, and we're so sorry for everything. Here I'm in a case that can never be closed, left in the middle of drug cartels, being harmed repeatedly and almost murdered, while they're getting surveillance, and that agent is no longer with the FBI. It has to be him that was in September 10th, 25. People were complaining that it was an agent with that so-called guy impersonating attorney, bad-mouthing me at the Tuscarawas County Courthouse. They need to get the surveillance of that courthouse. They need to get the surveillance of my community health on May 8th, 26 and April 9th, 26. And then that nice doctor out in Warren, you need to find out who's been talking to him. And this is how not funny it is. He's not even an FBI agent, and it's him stealing from the government. Then he's the one that sold the login to the case, and he sold the government technology to the cartels, where years ago it was on Google that the M13 is live streaming victims in witness protection program and to be stalked and harassed. Mine was sold in 18. For Will found another way of making money off the case. He sold the login for $25 a pop. It's the guy that told on me. He stole my money. See, years ago, they said that guy that did this to me, they actually knew each other. Wonder how many other cases that they've stolen from, and this time they got caught. 2 nights ago outside, some guy was outside with another guy. He said, "I'm tired of this." He said, "I went up to that church. They did tell that church he knew she was being drug beat, raped, didn't care for the case started. They're sitting around laughing they stole her money. The only way they could steal it is he put my card in his pocket. And somebody signed that they witnessed him giving it to me and helped him steal. He stole it for himself. So all these people that they're promising them extorting money from the government, they're setting you up to go to jail for. Turn the bastard in. He's not even a federal agent anymore. I'm going to upload this.